I'm pleased to speak on the Victorian Auditor-General's Office, their out-of-home care services report that's just been tabled today, and I attended a briefing earlier today. And I think it's really important to highlight, it's very concerning really, in Victoria we have 9,353 children in out-of-home care. That was last year, the 30th of June. That's a significant number of kids in our state that need support. And I guess the report found the state government is focusing on kinship care, which is important, but also foster carers provide the flexibility in the system that's so important. And it's very concerning to see the number of foster carers in Victoria declining. We've seen quite significant numbers. I know in 2022-23 there was 550 foster carers that left the system. There's more leaving the system than is coming in, and that is a big concern. And it's interesting to note that Victoria lags behind other states with the foster care allowance. We are quite low in comparison to other states, and the recent state budget saw an increase to the foster care allowance, but that simply covers inflation. And when we speak to foster carers, they flag a number of concerns just with the costs continuing to rise. It is very difficult to afford the extra care that's needed, and sometimes there's very complex needs that kids have. They may have specialist appointments, medical appointments that they need to get to, and being able to afford those additional costs is difficult. And with the cost of petrol going up, I know in regional areas the additional cost involved in getting from long distances is very difficult for families. And I remember speaking to a foster carer from Castlemaine that talked about some of those issues. But one of the elements highlighted in this report is that the data kept by the department has not been very easy to follow. It's free text fields which make it very difficult to monitor. They can't use it very effectively to see how a child is travelling and for people to know their history. We also hear about the high staffing turnover that seems to occur, and that is a big concern when you want that continuity of care from the department's perspective in helping look after these children that are in desperate needs. It is concerning to see the number of kids that are going into residential care. We've seen the media reports on some of the situations that have occurred, and it's evidently a place of last resort, but we need to get more foster carers in the system. And I just want to acknowledge the incredible work that these families do. I know some people that are involved in foster care and others more recently that I spoke to that simply went to an information session and they were really moved and wanted to be able to do the training needed to be able to assist. But some of the examples that you hear of kids turning up with just their bags and sleeping, like a sleeping bag or a backpack, and being left with the family without a wraparound care service or time, I think, there's just so much that needs to improve in the system. But to have 10,000 kids in our state that are in this need is just significant, and we need to acknowledge that in this chamber. And I think a lot more needs to be done to support foster carers, to listen to the concerns that they're raising, to review that allowance and increase it, because there is a real need to retain them in our system to provide an environment of care for these children. Thank you.